How's everything going? I'm doing pretty well. I guess you can see my new haircut, right? I cut it a while back, earlier in October, probably in the first week. But what this video is about is I put a new shifter on my mountain bike today. Well, I actually got started on October 8th, and so that was 2 weeks ago today. And today's October the 22nd. And what happened was, though, I had to get the hand grip off that came with the mountain bike, and it was really, really stuck on hard. So I tried to read a little bit, like, or watch videos about how to like, get it off, but finally I just tried, like, working it off with my bare hands. I would just try to move it a little bit, like on the end farthest away from the end of it, of the handlebar, like on the closer towards the stem of the steering wheel. And I could just, move it, like, barely move it like a millimeter at a time back and forth, and I just kept working on it and wiggling it. And then because I kept doing that, it started, like, moving a little bit more gradually, and I just kept working at it, and I finally worked it off, but I got, like, blisters on my hand, on my right hand, and there's still, I don't know if you can see this, but there's still, like, remnants of it, like the appearance from the skin underneath, and that was 2 weeks ago. So I got that hand grip off, but I just I stopped the whole thing because I knew I couldn't go for a bike ride after that with all those blisters that same day. So then something else happened. So I had this shifter. The original shifter that came on was a lever shifter, and it had been slipping, so it wouldn't stay in the lower gears that have, like, the more tension pulling on them. So when you do it to, like, the least amount of tension on the cable, those are, like, the highest gears. It was the right shifter on the right handlebar, right side of the handlebars, or, like, for the rear derailleur, So what happened, though, was this other old shifter had been, like, slipping for more than 8 years. And so I had bought myself, like, an SRAM brand, SRAM maybe, SRAM brand, but it was like one of those cylinders, like a little barrel shape thing that you slip on the handlebars. Well, they all slip on some way or the other, but the original one that came with the bike was a lever shifter. By the way, my bicycle will be 23 years old the day after Thanksgiving this year. So it's almost 23 years old now. So anyway, maybe someday I'll talk more about my bike, but I want to get back on the topic. So what happened, though, was I basically I took this handle grip off, and this other old shifter, like I said, had been slipping, and I was, like, having to ride in, like, the highest gears, and that was fine for a while, except that when I got to, like, a steep hill or something, then, I would have to, like, if necessary, I'd have to hold the thing in the lever in place with my right thumb to just keep it there, and I just didn't like that. So most of the time, but it was really strengthening me because I was forced to cycle in, like, my highest gears, so I did more, like, standing and pedaling and just really strengthening my legs when I cycled. But I liked having all the gears, so I'd had this shifter for, like, around 8 years. I finally wanted to put it on. So even though I had that handle grip off, I still needed one more tool. Apparently it was a hex wrench, and I had to have the metric one, like the 2.5 millimeter one, to tighten that barrel shifter down onto the handlebar, and I didn't have that. So I went out and bought one from Lowe's, and that was still on October the 8th, the same day I got the grip off. But then I was just waiting and putting it off, and I kind of like the old situation because I had replaced the cable at least once, but maybe 2 times or more, and I think I replaced both cables, shifting cables, but it was a good cable on there and everything, and I thought, what a waste, I'm going to have to take that cable off because the end was frayed. I didn't have wire cutters, so I didn't know how to, like, get it off. To cut it, I had to, like, really kind of break it with some other tool, and by the way, it damaged that tool. It was like tin snips. But the point was, it didn't damage it much. It just kind of, like, dented the blades a little bit. But anyway, the point was that I had this frayed thing, and I knew I couldn't, like, thread it in with the new shifter, but the shifter came with, like, a new cable, and it came with, actually I bought a two shifter set, but the other shifter that was with the original bike, the original shifter with the bike on the left side that does the front derailleur or whatever sprockets, that one is still working fine, so I left that on. But the weird thing was this shifter, trying to think what the point was. So, oh yeah, the shifter set from SRAM came with both shifters, both the left and right shifters. But I only needed the right shifter, so I'm saving the left shifter. But anyway, so today, I was just thinking all this time, what a waste, of that cable that's on there. But I did save it. So today, I finally got it on. I got the new shifter on. So I had taken off, you have to take off the brake parts, and then you have to take off the old shifter. One of them needed a Phillips screwdriver, the other needed like a hex wrench of a different size. So that was fine. And then I'd gotten all that off before because I had a larger hex wrench. I just didn't have a 2.5 millimeter one. I had one with the tool that I bought from my mountain bike. So anyway, trying to think what the point is. The point is that I got that on today, and I was like trying to fine tune my gears as well as I could. So I got all my gears and pretty much getting them all. I guess the front lowest sprocket is a little bit hard to get, but you can kind of do a few tricky manipulations with the gears and get it on. So get the chain on that lowest, the smallest front sprocket. But everything else, I'm getting all the gears now. So this barrel shifter is working just fine. So I went for a bike ride today. And but what I had to do was basically, there's a bolt in the back. So I had a small pair of adjustable plier wrench, called a crescent wrench, an adjustable wrench. Took that, loosened that bolt, pulled the old frayed end out through there, and then threw all of the housings, cable housings, and then pulled that old shifter out of there, and then got the new one on, and then the end of the cable is laser welded, if you don't already know that, so you can just slip it through really easily, like all that housing and stuff. And then I got it on there, and I, in the highest gear on the back for the shifter, I set the shifter to like 6. It's a 6 sprocket shifter, and because I have 6 sprockets in back. So, and then I pulled it tight, and then tightened that bolt, and then I worked with it a bit. And you can adjust it a few other ways too. So then, though, instead of trying to get that thing and cut it with something, I just left all that wire and I just looped it in like a coil, and then at the very end I pushed the end of the cable around that thing, in and out, sort of like around it. So I got this itty bitty little coil at the end, and the good thing about that is, if I have to change shifters again and take that cable out, this time I still have the laser welded end intact, so nothing is frayed. So I just have like a little loop at the end. I think that's a really cool idea. So hopefully this will be really cool, but I might buy another lever shifter if this one doesn't work out, but it is working out just fine actually. So I got that done today, and then I cycled on my mountain bike. That's for a mountain bike. I cycled like a little over 29.5 miles, and I used a distance measuring map to measure that. So that's my big thing today. I got my shifter replaced that I'd had at home for like 8 years. I put that new shifter on, and then I went for a bike ride, and it seems to be working well. Had a really great bike ride. So that's what's going on. So I'm just going to turn this off. So I think you just say GoPro stop recording.